We are live. We are live. Welcome everyone to Talk Live, ladies and gentlemen. Live on IG and YouTube. We are back again, ladies and gentlemen. Like and subscribe. Comment. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. The reason why I'm wearing this uniform here is that we make believers out of dreamers. We beat the 15-time champion, the 36 to 38 time La Liga champion, the biggest club in the world, Real Madrid, 3-0. We humbled them quite simply this week. We are left to do the work, but again, I am here to honor my side, my club, my team, home of the king, and yes, we are. I am totally ecstatic on Tuesday. I couldn't be brought down. Literally, I was on cloud 9, if not cloud 10 and 11. But yeah, we have one more job to do at the Bernabeu. So again, the work's not done yet, but we've lifted a lot of load to get there to where we are right now. Thank you very much for joining me here on Talk Live on IG and YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Let's get into this as we are running behind, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sperm donors beware, because modern women don't care. Yes, indeed. It seems that a modern woman, will do whatever it takes to get a man on the hook for child support, for payment, even if it was under the pretenses that it was simply and utterly because a woman wanted to have a baby and he was doing a friendly gesture by giving her a bit of his sperm. He can live his life. However, she had ulterior motives for that. She wanted to have this man unto herself, and if she couldn't, she would make this man's life a living hell. That is the way of the modern world, but far be it from me to talk about it. Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get into the browser here, and we're going to get into the full cam, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get it here. We want to thank here Poor Man's Podcast. He did wonderful work on this one, doing wonderful things in the YouTube streets. One of the great success stories of YouTube. Started out with 0 subscribers, then started from the bottom. Now he's at 1 million subscribers. Now he's just hit 1 million subscribers. Well, now actually he's at 898, so he's not too far away. But again, one of the great success stories of YouTube. So shout out to Poor Man's Podcast, and we're gonna follow this story here. I just saw this last night, and I said I gotta feature it. I gotta do it. Because it's telling modern men that no matter how kind the gesture, no matter how good of a man you are, women will try to make your life a living hell if given the possibility. And especially a jealous woman who wanted him unto himself and under the pretense of a sperm donation, took this man for granted. And this was an older woman, to be fair and frank. So he took advantage of a younger man here, thinking that, you know what, if I give this woman a little bit of my sperm, and she'll be on her way, then life will move forward as planned. But this woman had ulterior motives, and he was very young and naive, unfortunately, and he got caught in a trap. So let's talk about this unfortunate situation for this young man, which is still ongoing, which is still to be played out in these YouTube and live streets. DNA test proves man isn't the father, but he still has to pay child support. That is the topic. That is the title of this video here from Poor Man's Podcast, grafted from the Ticks and the Talks. So thank you very much for Poor Man's Podcast for following this video, because this is giving men, modern men, a whole lot of a story in which they can learn from. A terrible sequence in which this man was lured in and is now paying the price for his good deeds, because no good deed, ladies and gentlemen, goes unpunished. So let's get into this here from Poor Man's Podcast. Thank you very much for joining me and Talk Live. Let's get into this.
I'm probably going to jail for this. I don't care. I've stayed quiet long enough. A few years ago, I agreed to be a sperm donor. She said she just wanted the baby and not a relationship.
Oh, no.
I was young and naive, and I trusted someone that I shouldn't have. When she told me she was pregnant, I congratulated her and moved to California. I thought that was the end of it. But then she started messaging my mom. She said she had no one, and she pressured us all to be at the birth. So we did. We were all at the birth. I signed the birth certificate, and I decided to be in the baby's life as a dad.
No. Once you sign that birth certificate, anybody who knows anything knows that once you sign that birth certificate, you are the father legally. Not biologically. but definitely legally. And the state is going to make sure you take care of that baby by any means necessary, even if that means you got to get locked up in jail because you can't afford child support. He didn't really, and he moved to California. Rookie mistake, brother.
And the baby lived my
Ladies and gentlemen, absolutely right there from Poor Man's Podcast. The worst mistake a modern man can make is signing a birth certificate that isn't there. Because then the state has so much to go to in terms of siphoning child support. If you are not the father and don't believe you're the father, never, ever, 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 ever sign the birth certificate. Because now the state has a source to go to. Now the province has a source to go to. And now the country has a source to go to in terms of its child support. Many Western countries they don't care about DNA tests. They don't care who the father is. They just want a paymaster to whom they can bill and build money from. And this woman, as you'll see, going on into the show, chose her target wisely. This woman is a very shrewd, very conniving, very vindictive individual. And she knew that not only was she going to get genes, but much more from this young man here. Let's continue.
my Airbnb for free. I had to pay child support, and she took over $52,000 from me. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was being a dad. She started asking me to be a family, and when I refused, she called me a deadbeat online, and I stayed silent throughout it all. 2.5 years later, I decided to take 2 DNA tests. Both of them said the same thing. I was not the father.
Of
When I
course.
shared the
Of
results, she said that I was lying and that we tampered with the test.
Before you guys all start believing his shit.
Yeah. I just wanted to take a look at this. Just want you to take a look at this. Now, I don't want to be the racist type, and I never am. But there's a woman called the Dragon Lady. You may want to look it up. A Dragon Lady will do whatever it takes to get what she wants. This girl is a modern woman on steroids. Literal steroids. And unfortunately, that's what we have here. She was in her 30s. She was being pressured by her family to have a child. She didn't want an Asian baby. She wanted a white baby, and she went and got the best, under the pretense that I just want your sperm. I just want you to be a surrogate dad, and then I'll leave you alone. No, that was never her intention. Her intention was to make this man's life a living, utter hell. She wanted to be his woman, and she has been plotting on it for year on year. The Dragon Lady was here and here to stay, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we refer to her as, the Dragon Lady. Even Asian women refer to themselves as Dragon Ladies. This is definitely one. Remember Young Jeezy? Yeah, ran into another Dragon Lady. Here we have another Dragon Lady at our disposal. And you'll see the lengths that she went to make this man her own, and if not her own, tear this man's life apart. Totally destroying his reputation and subsequently his bank account, his family's bank account, and potentially his dreams as well. Let's continue.
Some company with her DNA, that could have been anyone's DNA.
She filed a restraining order. A judge silenced me and made me remove all my posts based on...
Remember, the DNA test says he's not the father. He's completely not the father here. But his fatal error was signing the birth certificate. The state doesn't care if you're the father or not. They just need someone to whom the courts can gain money. They don't care if you're the father or not. All they want is someone who they can send the bill to. Any sort of court fees, court costs, any set of lawyer's fees. That's who they want. And the state doesn't want to be on the hook for Section 8, for child support, for child support benefits in Canada. They just want someone that they can bring, they can take a woman off the public rolls. And they found one in this guy right here. And you'll see that this guy is not broke. This man was chosen, selected. He had a target on his back and never knew it. Let's continue.
Maria's claim that I was actually the father.
Yeah, and that's all it takes. That's all it's going to take is the woman's claim, because as a man, as soon as you go into any level of family court, you are guilty until proven innocent.
There it is.
And everything that the woman says will be taken at face value, and you will have to prove your way out of everything. This man has a full DNA test saying that he's not the father, and it's not enough. And if the woman wants to draw it out and really, really draw it out to make you miserable, she can for a very long time. If she's not cooperative with understanding that you're not the father and she doesn't want to admit that, she can drag it out in family court for forever.
Is the court order?
And she'll never go to jail for it. Because what she's committing here is fraud. This is paternity fraud she's participating in here. If at all possible, this lady, if this lady, let's face facts. This is never his baby. It's already been proven by DNA testing. Independent DNA testing. She should go to jail for this. But the state won't do that. Because the state will do whatever it is possible to keep themselves out of this complaint, out of this action. The state doesn't want to have to pay up in terms of child support payments. They want a man there who is available and ready to pay. And as you will see, since this man has already behaving like a father and making support payments just to keep just to keep things quiet and keep things rolling along, believe me, the state will catch him, because since he is already behaving like a father, they're going to keep making him behave like a father. DNA test or not. Let's continue.
For DNA test that I had to request, and it confirmed again I am not the father. And while I was silent, she kept going. She was changing dates on photos, spinning stories, manipulating people online. Some people believed her. But while she was doing that, I was uncovering the truth. Connections, manipulations, lies, and the truth about who the real father is. This is just the beginning of Maria's web.
Oh, he did his homework.
Part two of my side.
Look at the binder this man has in order to prove himself not guilty. He acted like counsel. And good on him. Fantastic work by this young man. Remember, she's older. She's in her 30s. He's in his mid-20s. But she didn't care. She wanted his DNA, whether she liked it or not. And if she can get his money in the process, all the better. All the very better. It is shameless activities. But time in, time out, you'll find a lot of modern women engaging in this type of activity. To all men out there, let this be a lesson to you. Never sign a birth certificate. Never give away your sperm to someone if you feel that she is not the one. Never sign your life away for anybody. Luckily, this man, as you will see, is well heeled, to put it lightly. She chose her target well. He was just being the nice guy. However, look how he has to prepare for the fight of his life. He never saw this coming. But she knew what she was doing. The dragon lady knew exactly what she was doing. Sorry, but it's true. Even Asian people know who dragon ladies are. This is exactly who this person is. Let's continue.
Apparently, I've been in a full-blown relationship I wasn't even aware of. Maria and I had a one-night stand on December 12th, 2020. She was in her 30s and I had just turned 24. And let me say this slowly for the people in the back. We were never in a relationship. She wanted more and I didn't. So instead of taking the L, she turned into a full-blown homie hopper, like back to back. Wasn't even discreet about it. She just went down the roster like it was her job. I guess the logic was, if I won't date her, maybe I'll change my mind after I watch her hook up with all my friends. Bold strategy. It didn't work. And in case you think I'm still lying,
It never
her own
does.
cousin confirmed that we were never together. I'm sorry, Hadley. I know you hate this picture, but this is the time that Maria asked me to be a sperm.
Yeah, that whole idea of like a woman trying to make you jealous by going out and being a hoe, it never ever works.
Nope.
It never works. It just makes you go, oh, I was right about her. It never works. I don't understand why women even try that as a method. It doesn't work.
She doesn't want
Remember, this lady went out of her way to try to make this man jealous. He didn't care. This young man didn't care. He had his life in front of him. He's 24 years old. All right, we had a little fun. Okay, I'll be a stern over. Just thanks very much, but leave. They were never an item. And she went out of her way to try to make him jealous. He didn't care. You want to sleep with my boys? Fine. We know you're a hoe now. Fantastic. But unfortunately, the die was cast. And this young man, by soon enough making that fatal error of signing that birth certificate, was in for a life of pain. Absolute pain. Draining his finances for years to come. And his family finances too, as you will see. Let's continue.
to do IVF, and I'm convenient because we've already slept together once. She says she wants nothing from me, and instead of doing the smart thing and walking away, I said yes, because I was 24 and apparently thought the best use of my time was becoming a discount sperm donor for someone that I wasn't even texting back. I was thinking with the wrong head, obviously.
Exactly.
She said, no strings, no drama. I just want a baby. I was like, sounds easy enough. I can do that. I really thought I could just sleep with her and help her get pregnant, and then go back to business as usual. Like, thanks for stopping by. Good luck with the whole parenting thing.
Now, you see this young man here. He's a good-looking young man. He's a very good-looking young man. That's exactly what you wanted. The highest, the largest segment of couples interracial dating are white men and Asian women. That's number one. And she wanted a mixed-race Asian baby. So she thought, let me choose this guy. Good-looking man, strong man, young, virile. You can call him a Chad. Let's call a spade. You can call this man a Chad. So she was willing to do anything to get to this man. Willing to do anything to have this man be the father. Even if she had to connive, drug, make up, lie, steal, cheat. But this was her number one target. And men don't realize that women have ulterior motives for you. And if you have a target on your back, you have a target on your back. And you need to watch it. You need to watch it. Because this could be any young man out there. A man who had his life ahead of him, came from a great family, looks like he was on his way to greatness. Until one Asian lady stepped up and said, no. I will choose to make your life a living hell. Naive as it is, as he was. Let's continue.
Top tier, dumbass behavior.
Yeah.
I own that. I know it. But I genuinely believed her when she said it would be simple.
And it's good that he's acknowledging that, because that is a dumb rookie mistake. This is a 30-year-old woman sleeping on a one-night stand with a 24-year-old man, trusting anything that she says is absolutely insane. Now, you can play the naive card because he was 24 thinking with the wrong head, but at the end of the day, that's why I tell dudes, you should not be thinking with the wrong head. Don't be sleeping with women if you don't want them to be the mother of your kids.
There it is.
Because you're doing something that could lead to her being the mother of your kids.
Mm-hmm.
So you better find a goddamn hobby that don't involve drinking and messing with random women, because I'm telling you, it can get you in a trap. This man's talking about having this woman live in an Airbnb for 2 years. She stole $55,000 from him.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big price to pay for trying to chase some coochie when you're 24 years old. You don't have the time.
Very well said by Poor Man's Podcast right there. It's a shame that this man had to learn a $55,000 plus lesson, because as you will see, this is not just from Kanye said it best, 18 years. No, it ain't. It's not just 18 years. It's 18 years plus, because if this young person, who it will be a daughter, ever wants to go to college, you're on the hook too. You got to pay for higher education. It's only when she's out of higher education that you're officially off the hook. But it's good that this young man acknowledged his mistake, but it is a big mistake, number one. But his saving grace is the fact that he has come from good stock. And this lady targeted him because he was good-looking, young man, Chad, and he had money. Oh, yeah. She hit the trifecta here. Definitely hit the trifecta. And a lot of ladies do this all the time because they realize that the family court system is in their favor through divorce, through child support, through any of these things because of legal jurisprudence, as you'll find out in due course. Let's hear them continue.
Time wasting to waste sleeping with women that you don't even value, that you don't even respect.
Yep.
Drama and no strings attached. That's not what happened. So
Of course
this woman
not.
told me I got her pregnant the same day she got her period, and then accidentally exposed herself on TikTok 3 years later. May 7th, 2021, Maria gets her birth control arm implant out. She's from my hometown, and she was living in New Orleans at the time, so she could only be here on the weekends. So she came in town the next 2 weekends, May 14th and May 21st. We partied with my friends, she stayed over, she had someone take these pictures, and then later tried to use them to prove we were in a relationship. We weren't. What was I supposed to say? Don't take a picture with me? And
This lady, I tell you, she had all... Whew! Man, he didn't know what he was letting himself into. Let's continue.
then I went to California. While I'm there, I posed with another girl, Whitney. She's only a friend, but Maria didn't know that. Maybe she got jealous, I don't know, but what she did next will never cease to amaze me.
Of course you did, because the people who try to make people jealous in a relationship are people that easily get jealous. That's why they think that it works, but it never does.
June 6, 2021, Maria gets her period. She knows I didn't get her pregnant, and she also knows I'm about to move across the country. So she invites me to brunch, and she tells me she's pregnant, fully knowing that she's not. Then she starts drinking like a lot. We then leave and go to another restaurant and meet up with my friend Dylan, and she also tells him that she's pregnant. Dylan and I think it's weird that she's drinking, but she insists it's okay. Here's the proof that this video is on June 6th.
Fuck this place, moving to California.
Hey, you didn't get a lemon in here.
Oh, fuck, wrong way.
This video is dumb, but it shows two things. Maria was drinking, and I made it very clear that I was leaving. And that's important because that brunch, that's the last time I ever saw her until the week before the baby was born.
Wow.
Here's how we found out that she was on her period when she told me she was pregnant. Here's a photo she posted to TikTok to try to prove we were in a relationship. She
Okay.
changed the dates on the photos, but we'll get into that later.
All right, I'm
Then
following
she
you.
posted this one. I then tell my girlfriend, who's a nurse, that she took that photo the day that she told me she was pregnant.
6 months.
And had to like, hold up, there's no way. Let me see that ultrasound photo again. So we pull up the ultrasound that she sent my mom. The ultrasound was done on January 17th, 2022. And it showed that she was 32 weeks and 1 day. I've since learned that pregnancy is calculated from the first day of a woman's last menstrual period. And if we count back 32 weeks and 1 day from January 17th, 2022, we get June 6th, 2021, the day she told me she was pregnant. And we didn't sleep together that day either. Since she never saw me after that, that means that she knew from the beginning that I was never the father.
Yeah.
Furthermore,
Of course.
here's proof that I'm in California the only weekend that she could have gotten pregnant. She trapped me before there was even a baby.
Yeah, of
And
course.
the
Yeah, that's what they do. They'll sleep with multiple people, and then when they get pregnant, they'll decide which one they want to be the dad. And you was just the best sucker. That's how it is. You was the best sucker that had the most money that could provide probably the most stability in her eyes and from her opinion. And that's why you the one that got tied to the baby. Automatic.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. Well said, Poor Man's Podcast. Look at this man's backyard. A woman saw that, saw him, and said, "No matter who I have this baby with, you're gonna be the father. And you know how I'm gonna trap you? By you signing this birth certificate." And hoping this man doesn't do his due diligence and say, "You know what? Maybe I should stop and get a DNA test before I even sign a thing." But he didn't do that. He was thinking with the wrong head. He was 24 years old. He thought, she's there for sperm donorship. Okay, fine. But this one was clearly lying about being pregnant. That's how they trap you. And this is any woman. Let me say this. Doesn't have to be an Asian lady. Doesn't have to be a dragon lady. It could be a black lady. This happened 1,000 times. It could be a white woman. This happened 1,000 times. It could be a Hispanic woman. It could be an Indian woman. It could be any woman, any modern woman at all. This is not an isolated incident. This is something that is a modern tale told over and over and over again in different ways, in different circumstances. Looking at this man, his good looks, and the family, the money that the family had as well, easy target. All she wanted to do was make sure that he signed on to this lie. And lo and behold, he did, unfortunately. Let's continue.
We probably would have never found out if she wouldn't have posted the photos. She exposed her own lie, and it only gets crazier from here. Here's how I ended up the birth of a baby that I was only supposed to be a sperm donor for. July 12th, 2021, she...
Notice the settings of where he is. This is a well-heeled individual. He came from a family of money. This lady, I think Vietnamese by origin, was only willing, all too well willing, to try to be a part of this family. And she got a sucker, unfortunately. Let's continue.
She confirms that she's actually pregnant. We only found that out later when she started posting on TikTok, but at that time she kept quiet. From July 22nd through July 26th, I was with my friend Whitney. She met my mom and she posted it on Facebook. Maria didn't know she was just a friend, and based on what happened next, I think she got jealous. Because not long after, Maria starts messaging my mom.
Hello.
Hey, Mama.
The night, I guess that we first met, I guess was that night at the house show. One of the first things after we introduced ourselves and sat down, I can see, remember her saying to me that she hoped that I didn't think that she took advantage of my son. And of course I gave a polite answer to that. She went on to discuss, and she mentioned, how I guess she was impressed with you to be so young and so successful at that age.
Yep, there it is.
There it is.
And that's why especially if you feel like you're going to be successful in your life, especially if you already have things. That's why I never understood this whole high value men supposed to or should go out and sleep with women, or they have the ability to. Sure, they may have the ability to, but you absolutely should not do it because it costs so much.
Yep.
It can cost you so much. And you're dealing with something fragile like life. You could potentially create life out of it too.
Just before he moves on, I think he's got a point in terms of a high value man being in trouble by sleeping with whoever they want. But I think a high value man can do it, seeing that he was successful, seeing that he was moving on to bigger and better things. But they must protect themselves at all times because they're a target. I've been there. I've seen it. I know it. I know it. I've been a target myself. I have been a target myself. Luckily, I didn't have to suffer these sort of travails, but I was a target myself. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Times are hard, and women are desperate. And they're willing to do anything to get a check. Such is modern womanhood today. Now, not to say, again, the majority of women out there would not engage in this sort of behavior, but we've engaged in this time in and time out, again and again and again. I featured here on Talk Live. When I talk about Trevor Bauer, when I talk about Young Jeezy, when I talk about this lady right here, it's happened time and time again, and it keeps on happening, people. This is soon to be of epidemic proportions. I understand there are women out there who are willing to work hard to get where they want to go, but a lot of women aren't. And anyhow they can take a free ride somewhere and get a sucker, they will. And we have a sucker right here, unfortunately. A good man only wanted to do a solid for a lady he knew, but he never knew that this woman wanted in his family and wanted to destroy his life if he didn't comply with her wishes. Let's continue.
It just costs you so much, it doesn't seem like it's worth it. Go find a hobby, do something else with your time. Stop giving it to bloodsuckers. Don't give it to bloodsuckers. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, she's a succubus. That's what a bloodsucker is. A succubus, a female, a spirit that's draining of energy. Yes, she's a succubus. Absolutely. A dragon lady succubus. It's true. Let's continue.
All your toys.
From that point on, Maria started pulling my mom in deeper. She would ask for baby pictures of me, and she told her mom that baby is going to look just like me. She made my mom feel important and needed, and when Maria told her that she had no one, my mom felt pressured to come to the birth.
She told me if something ever happens to her, I want you to raise the baby. And I just remember thinking, this poor girl has no one.
Oh.
By then,
Perfect plan. This girl knew what she was doing. Lean on their gentler dispositions, on her kinder, gentler angels. Work the mother. She was a mother. I'm a mother. I hope that you could be there and be there for the family. Ingratiate yourself through the mother into the family. Genius move on this woman. Diabolical, but genius. She said, you know what? I'm here. I'm alone. I'm stranded, but I know he's going to make a good dad. I want you to be there for the birth. I want to build bridges with the family. Absolutely textbook. Lay upon her kinder dispositions. Gentlemen, in this day and age, if you have a life that's worth living and going for, you must protect yourself. You don't know that you are indeed a target to a lot of these ladies. A lot. It's unfortunate, it's sad, but it's true. And the tougher the economy goes, more men are being just, and the larger the red pill becomes, more women are starting to not care anymore. They see men as suckers. They try to find one, and once they do, make his life a living hell, especially if she's the jealous type. Let's continue.
Then my family was in. They were planning to be at the birth, and I was about to be too. My mom tells me that Maria told her she has no one coming to the birth, no family, no support. She's
perfect example. Oh my God. Using the mother to influence her son to be at the birth. Outstanding. It's diabolical. It's nasty. But it's brilliant. Have the mother influence her son to be at a birth and therefore participate in the child's process. Not knowing that this child was never his in the first place. Simply outstanding. Let's continue.
scared and she really wants me to be there. So I booked the flight on February 23rd, 2022, and it's $677.
Why would you do it in the first place if you don't have any support? She knew good and goddamn well that from her character being a horrible person, because I'm sure that's what she is. Usually when people do stuff like this ain't the only area in the life where they're crazy.
Oh, no.
She's probably pushed everybody away in her life that actually cared about her.
Yep.
And now she's alone. And she already knew that before she even signed up to do this gig. This whole gig was set up to get this dude trapped. And she played the long game. She slept with a bunch of dudes and said whoever is the highest bidder is the one that's going to be the father of the
There
child.
it is.
It's crazy.
And I sent Maria the screenshot. By this time, Maria has already had 2 separate baby showers and never posted anything about it. Not one bump photo, nothing. And then a few hours after I booked my ticket, and on the same day that I sent her the screenshot confirming I was going to be at the birth. And at 8.5 months pregnant, that is the first time she ever posts that she's pregnant. And she uses my last name. She waited until I was fully in, and then she told the world. She didn't just lie, she made sure the lie had backup. The day the baby was born, I was there, and I was the first person to ever hold the baby. And I just remember thinking, this is what it feels like to become a dad.
Yeah.
Wow. You know what? Simply diabolical. Simply, utterly evil by nature. This woman had this man's last name issued on Facebook and Instagram with her baby's name in front. Can you believe it? The claws were in. They were in. And here he was playing a happy-go-lucky fool saying, oh, that's wonderful. Oh, it's Mrs. Fairley. Oh, my God. Not realizing what this woman is doing. She was out to get him. By hook or by crook, she was out to take what she thought was hers. Was hers. Simply diabolical. Absolutely outrageous the lengths this woman went to in order to trap him. And with the mother involved, coaxing the son to be there, guess what? The fix was in. This is con woman 101. This is the ultimate con. Let's continue.
About anything else in that moment. My parents are there posting about how they're grandparents again. And then the nurse comes in and she brings in the forms for the birth certificate and the acknowledgement of paternity. I signed everything because I thought the baby was mine and Maria knew I would.
The fatal mistake. Run this back just a little bit. The fatal error was signing that paternity suit. The fatal error was signing this birth certificate. Now you're on the hook with the state. Once you sign this, that's all they need. Whether you're the father or not, that's all they need. They can start proceedings from then to start taking your money away, taking your life away. To all young men out there, never sign this form unless you have full proof that child is yours. One, or you are so in love and so assured of the timeline between you and your significant other in terms of having a child that you don't mind if you sign this birth certificate. Those are the only 2 ways you do. If you never saw this woman as being your wife or being your future partner for years to come, never sign this form. Never sign this form. Until you get a paternity test, never, ever sign this form. Whether you're the nice guy or not. Because you're letting yourself in for a world of hurt. Let's continue.
I signed everything because I thought the baby was mine and Maria knew I wouldn't. After the birth, she scheduled a full-blown newborn photo shoot. She posed me holding the baby and they would jump in the photos. She had my dog in the photos too and had already ordered a bandana that said Big Brother. She shared the photos online, but I had no idea because I was already blocked on Facebook. She was posting pictures of me and the baby.
Yeah, she's playing the long game.
Family. Well, I'm across the country. She's messaging my childhood friends. She's asking my best friend Dylan and his girlfriend Megan to babysit, and they do. She starts asking my friends and family if they want to be the godparents. She didn't just ask one or two people. She told multiple friends they might be chosen. Literally, this is what my brother posted of me, the baby, and my friends. He joked, the godparents who didn't make the cut. And Maria liked the picture. At first, she kept thinking,
Look at that. That is so that is so genius. That is evil genius, but it's genius. She made sure that the whole family knew. All of his friends, all of his relatives, all of his family, all involved in photo shoots, all involved in being godfathers, all involved in being uncles. Everybody knew that she played along to the point where this child is his. Look at all the things I'm doing. You have to believe me. And they did. And they simply did. Unfortunately, this was built on a lie. Because the child was never his. Well, these are the lengths that women will go through in order to support the con. In order to pull the wool over someone's eyes. In order to get the man that she wants to pay up, even if the child isn't his. Because she wanted to be in this family that badly. Remember, this is an older woman. She was in her mid-30s. She's 10 years older than this young man. But she didn't care. All she wanted was to be a part of this rich family. Let's continue.
things peaceful and calm. It's like she didn't want to risk pushing me away too fast. Once I was settled into this nice little world she created for me, that's when she started to tighten her grip.
Yep.
And that's when the real abuse begins. You
Yep.
don't realize it's abuse when there's no bruises. But she didn't need violence. She used my love for the baby to control me. She waited until
I want you to see those little catches there. Okay, here's a few sample. Yeah, here we go. There we go. There we go. Again, Jesus effing Christ. I hope you effing die. Transfer $10,000. You're effing Dick Brett. Remove you from her life. She's playing dirty pool now. Because she knew that she would never be his. And as a result, she started turning up the heat. Even though he was still paying exorbitant amounts of money for a child that wasn't his. Yep, it gets that deep. Let's go.
she used my love for the baby to control me. She waited until I was all in. Once I settled into my role as a father, once she knew I wasn't going anywhere,
Yep.
that's when it changed.
Gotcha.
Control started small, a comment here, a demand there, but it escalated fast. It was Easter of 2022, and I flew home to see the baby. I spent nearly $900 on
I mean, you just got to respect this man's ability to follow the story here. The amount of like research, and not research, but just backdating he did to find all this stuff and put it together in a portfolio to present it to the world. You got to just at least respect the fact that the man is calculated. Like, you got to
respect that this man acted like legal counsel. I'm sure he has legal counsel in his family, if not his friend circle, where they literally tell you, document everything. No matter what sort of action you're involved with, especially when it comes to the litigation process, documentation is everything. Evidence, evidence, evidence. Backup evidence with evidence, and evidence more, and more evidence. And even if you think it's indiscriminate, still bring in the evidence. You never know where it's going to lead. That's why he has this dossier. That's why he has this file filled with proof. The only problem was the court wouldn't listen to him because they already have their man. And any man as such who can get the state off the hook, they're fine by me. Do you realize that the French courts, French family court disallows DNA testing? Look it up. They don't want to know who the father is. All they want to know, DNA testing is illegal in France. Because all they want to know is who's paying up. Because the French, if it wasn't for their tax taking from Africa, you can look that up too, they are a broken state, and they don't care how they get the money. They want to get it. That's why they're outlaws DNA testing. And in this state, it looks like in Louisiana here, they disallow DNA testing as well, because you know what? The state don't want to be on the bill for any sort of support for any mothers. They have enough on their rolls. And seeing that this man was already paying, and that he can pay into the future with his career and such, yeah. Now we don't care about the DNA test. He's still paying, so let him keep paying. That's how insidious the state is these days, especially when it comes to child support. Let's continue. Sickening. Absolutely sickening.
Respect the man's organization at this point.
My whole family was at the house. My parents, nieces, uncles, aunts, cousins. I blocked off my Airbnb and I hosted everyone, including Maria and the baby. At first, things seemed normal. She was upstairs drinking, talking with my mom, being friendly. I was downstairs with my cousin, just hanging out. The more she drank, the more her attitude started to shift. There was this edge to her, sharp glances and short responses. I could feel it building. Then, out of nowhere, she leans over the upstairs balcony, clearly drunk, and screams down at me in front of everyone, "Get your ass up here and take care of your child." My mom?
The dragon lady showed up. There she is. Get your ass up here and take care of this child. She wanted to make a public spectacle of him, because she knew that he would never be hers. She wanted to come in, drink her ass off, and embarrass him in front of his family. The dragon lady showed up.
Mom says this is the first time that she saw it. That Maria expected something from me way beyond what we agreed to.
Yep.
For me, it was the first sign that if I didn't do what she wanted, she would humiliate me in front of everyone. After that day, things shifted. Subtly at first. But every time I didn't respond fast enough and give her what she wanted, she would use the baby against me. May 16th, 2022, she asked if her and the baby could stay in my Airbnb rent-free. I don't answer right away. A few hours later, she threatens to take the baby away from me, so I say yes. She moves in, I cover rent, utilities, internet, everything. Meanwhile, I can't rent it out during peak season. I'm losing money left and right, but I tell myself it's worth it to stay in the baby's life.
She saw a man with an Airbnb. She saw a man from a well-heeled family. Guess what she did? She took advantage. Moved into the man's Airbnb, not paying a dime. Remember, this is not the father. Not paying a dime for her stay at the Airbnb. She expected child support payments, even though they did not have any sort of agreement with the family court. She expected a lot from this man for a friendly gesture. She expected a lot. Right? Let's go.
August 2022, I come back again, so I have to drive an hour each day just to see the baby, and then an hour back just to sleep with my parents. I keep showing up, I keep complying, because by now, it's clear. I push back, I lose access.
Yep.
After she moved out of the Airbnb...
And that's not talked about enough in the family courts. Help women do that. Women rely on the family court. They weaponize the family court and the child against men. Yep. Oftentimes. That happens a lot. It happens a lot because sometimes these ladies are in these flings with these guys. The baby's made out of lust and not love. And the way to control the man is to use the baby, because the man doesn't even truly love her. The baby wasn't even made out of love. It was made out of lust. Yeah. And so when you see a lot of these deadbeat dad situations, that's what I oftentimes see. I don't see a lot of dudes just abandoning their kids willingly. Oftentimes they're pushed away heavily by the mom, and the mom uses the state as an enforcement arm of her will against the man.
Control.
Very true. He's absolutely right. A lot of moms will make up stories, will change dates of visitation, will hold their children against their men in order to get what they want, get the child support payments they want. You don't pay me by a certain amount by a certain date, you're not going to see this child. And I will, and I'll bring it to family court in order to make sure I get not only payment but higher payment. They don't care. A lot of women don't care, and that's why I say to a lot of men, don't ever sleep with a woman unless you truly, truly see a future with her. Unless you've done your due diligence and you've seen that this woman comes from good stock. Because a lot of these ladies these days are absolute harlots. They are not made of the good stuff, unfortunately. And they will make your life unbearable. This is a good man who clearly had his life ahead of him. You can see it in his face. He has been through it. She has taken him through it simply because he didn't want her. But he made a few big mistakes, and now he's in the shit. Let's continue.
Didn't stop. She texted me, "This is what I want from you." She wanted me to start paying the full daycare amount, even though there was no court order in place. And in exchange, she said that I could have the baby every other weekend if I stay at my parents' house.
There it is.
I've never been arrested. I didn't use drugs. I've never been violent, abusive, or even raised my voice around her. There's no court ruling, no concern from a judge, nothing.
There it goes.
It wasn't co-parenting, it was control. My access to the baby came with conditions that she made up as she went.
Exactly.
About a week later, she posted a photo on Instagram with the man that we now know is the dad.
If she couldn't have him, she was going to control him. If she could not have him, she was going to control him. The name of the lady, Maria Nguyen. Yes, the dragon lady. Let's continue. Oh, there's the baby father. The real father. Who never had as much money as he did. But she's going to play the state. She's going to play it like a fiddle in order to get what she wanted. Let's go.
There's something to note. We'll get into that later. Then came the baptism. We talked about this in my first video, but here's a quick recap.
Imagine that. You got the baby pinned on you, and you sitting there funding this man blowing this girl's back out, and he's the real dad. He's the real dad of the kid. But because he ain't doing nothing financially with his life, she chose you to be the fool.
Yep.
That hurts. That's crazy.
I drove a 14-hour round trip just to be there. The night before, she asked me to come hang out. I said no. I didn't want to give her the wrong impression. So she told me I wasn't allowed to come to the baptism just like that. I didn't fight it. I just let my parents go instead. I was just trying to keep the peace. By summer of 2023, things took another turn. Now it wasn't just emotional pressure, it was legal. I was overwhelmed and hiring an attorney felt too expensive. Plus, I had no reason to question paternity. Maria told me if I didn't just sign what her lawyer sent, she would take me to court and get $1,400 a month in child support and $16,000 in back pay.
Wow.
In those same messages, she said that she didn't want to go in front of a judge.
I mean, does he not have any proof that he's been providing a life for her and the kid? Does he not have any proof that he's been providing? Because if you're providing a life for the kid, from my understanding, and if you can prove that, oftentimes they won't be able to get back pay. But you just never know, especially if he's in California. I don't know the laws if they're in Louisiana. I'm not sure where they are when this is going on. But you just never know. I'm going to tell you right now, though, it doesn't matter how powerful you think you are. You go into that family court system against a woman, especially a woman that can cry on demand, and you're weak. You're weak. Everybody in that room gets paid off of you. The woman gets paid, the judge gets paid, the lawyer gets paid, everybody gets paid off of your dime, and nobody has a problem exploiting you for it. I'm telling you.
Looking back now.
Absolutely true. Well said by poor man. All they want is a paymaster. And a good one at that. And he was. So they don't care if you're the father. They don't want this woman on the public roll. So guess what? They're going to let this bad behavior continue. As long as the court system, as the family court and all of its employees are paid. The judge, the lawyers, the court reporters, the bailiffs, everyone. Everybody wants a slice. Everybody wants a slice of you. That's why it is so important that if you, because I haven't had any kids myself. I've luckily stayed away from, guarded myself against such exhibits. But I can tell you one thing. I am telling my nephews to watch themselves and protect themselves at all times. Because both of them are over 6 feet. Both of them are coming from good stock and good family. So guess what? They're targets too. Just like this young man. Just like this young man. And I am asking them, I am begging them to protect themselves. Because if not, it's hell to pay. It's literal hell to pay. And even if your family has a bit of money, the fact of the matter is, sooner or later, it's going to come out of your pocket. And as a young man, you don't want that. This man had a future ahead of him, and it was sidetracked because of this vindictive woman. Vindictive. And there are thousands upon thousands of these women out there every single day in every single city. If they can see a leg up, they're going to use it. Because women don't build, they move in. Here's another case in point. Let's continue.
And that feels important. I agreed to pay $750 a month and $10,000 in back child support.
Wow.
Just to avoid a legal battle. I didn't think I could win, so on August 21st, I wired her $10,000. You think that once the court order was in place, things would settle down, but they didn't. If anything, the control got worse. I made my first court-ordered child support payment on November 1st. Less than 2 weeks later, she's calling me names, refusing to let me keep the baby overnight, and demanding more money again. Even simple visits came with strict conditions. When I tried to coordinate a time to see the baby, she laid out impossible rules for pickup and drop-off. She told me exactly when, where, and how, and
this is all because this woman could not be the number one. All because of that. She could not be a part of the inner circle. She was never part of the inner circle. So she said, you know what? I am going to be a succubus and drain this man of all that he is worth. And what was once so innocent, oh, I just want a sperm donor, led to this. This was all a part of the plan. All a part of it. You got to protect your neck, boys. You really, really do. Let's continue.
still refused overnight visits.
Exactly, and that's what the court does. It gives all of the power to the woman.
Yep.
She gets to set all of the standards for everything that happens between you and somebody that's supposed to be your biological kid. Ain't that crazy?
Well, I say in objection to that, in this instance, they're looking for the people with whom the children stay on a regular basis, but more often than not, it's usually the woman they did look out for. That's just simply on jurisprudence. That's because of due to legal history. No matter how the times have changed, no matter how feminist and how much more women have earned these days, usually, unless the woman is of such a great earner to such a great extent that it cannot be denied that it cannot be denied that they do not become the rape parents, because I've known people who have had to pay child support being women, and but again, they don't go in to these men to the same extent unless they are movie stars, unless their family are independently wealthy. They'll never go in the way they go in on a man, the way this happens, and they'll turn up the heat as long as everybody gets paid and the state can stay right the hell out of it. And they already realize, oh, they look up the name fairly, boom. There's a family with money. So let this man keep on paying. whether he's the father or not. We'll come back here on this video. We're going into hour 2 of this. Please do come back on Talk Live. Really, really interesting, fascinating story. We're just going to be finishing up this. It will be within this hour, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you very much for joining me here on Talk Live on IG and YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment on the road to 1,000 subscribers. And we'll continue with, yes, sperm donors beware, because modern women don't care. Come on back. Thank you very much for joining me on Talk Live on IG and YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Let's get back to it. Let's get back to it here on IG. Back to the live, back to the motion, and back here on YouTube. Thank you very much for joining me on Talk Live. We are back in live for a second hour here on Sperm Donors Beware, because modern women don't care, especially if they got you on the hook for the birth certificate. And if you're a Chad and Tyrone, oh Lord. Oh Lord, oh Lord. Let's go. Second hour here on Talk Live. Thank you very much for joining me. Sponsored by Duntalk, DUNTALK.com.
You're 50% of the child's DNA, but the other person, who is the person, by the way, that oftentimes isn't the one the most financially stable, but they'll give them the kid anyway, because according to Title 5D, and you guys can look this up, it's a real thing, the states get 66% of every dollar they collect in child support. Before Title 5D, it used to be almost always 50-50 custody. After Title 5D, when the state started to get 50% of every, or 66% of every dollar they collect in child support, all of a sudden you see women, even if they're less financially capable of taking care of the kids, getting the kids. And she'll get to set all the rules. And you, as the father, just have to sit there and take it.
She insulted me.
Yes, well, that's in the United States. I believe Canada has a similar law here. I'd have to do the research and from the family law rules, but I'm sure it's very similar. I'm sure it's very, very similar here, but I'd have to do research on that in terms of child support. But again, it's a system that is extremely skewed towards single mothers. Extremely skewed towards them and mothers in general. And if you're a father and you wish to support the child, that's fine, but you will, whether by hook or by crook, even if you are not the father, the fact of the matter is you are a good earner. And if you're a good earner, you will pay. Let's continue. Whether you're the father or not. Sad but true.
In one breath, demanded child support in the next. I gave her extra money, $30 here, $250 there, all outside the court order. I was trying to avoid conflict and trying to stay in the baby's life. Then out of nowhere, she texted me that she wants to be with me. I told her gently, again, that's not what I want. Days later, she posts photos of me and the baby at our house on Christmas morning, like we're a happy little family. By early 2024, it felt like there was no line that she wouldn't cross. February 1st, I make the court-ordered child support payment on time. On Valentine's Day, I posted this photo while I was out to dinner. I wasn't even in town, it wasn't my girlfriend, just a night out. Maria saw it and immediately started freaking out. Texting.
See? She attempted again to try and get in the back of this man's life because that's what she wanted. She wanted to manufacture romance, manufacture love, manufacture a relationship with this man. I said, for the child, please, let's be together and such and such and such and such. So she'll get everything she wants. She'll have the husband, she'll have the kid, she'll have the child support, even though it's not his. She'll get everything. But he stood firm and said, no, I don't want you. I never did want you. Please, let's keep it simple here. Let's keep it civil. Even though he didn't have to. He never realized he didn't have to. So, what does she do? Sees him out with a friend. He posted on Facebook. All of a sudden, turns up the heat again. Or is that Instagram? Either Instagram, Facebook, either one. Turns up the heat again. Because she is the jealous type. Let's go.
that I should have taken the baby to dinner instead. Then she said, keep this up and I won't let you see her anymore. I sent her $100 for a Valentine's dinner for her and the baby.
Wow.
Just trying to avoid another explosion.
Yeah, and she took that and spent that on the dude that was blowing her back out. That's really the father of the kid. It's insane.
Yeah, he paid for her Valentine's Day. Absolutely. The fact that he wanted to go out with someone and just take his mind off things and this absolute nasty piece of work, she wouldn't let him forget. She would not let him forget. He chose the right one, man. He chose the right one. He chose the right one. And when he tried to keep things quiet, of course. Listen, that's why I always say to young men, please have a budget for any woman that you're seeing, because Lord knows, what you're paying for her attention, she's giving that attention to somebody else. She's giving that sexual energy to somebody else for free. Guaranteed. She's giving it to someone else for free. Always have a budget with every girl you see, because believe me, there's some other guy reaping the benefits and taking your money and taking the piss on your head and telling you it's rain. Let's continue.
March 1st, I pay again. $750 in support, plus $31 extra for dance class. Again, not court ordered. Just trying to keep the peace. Then she posts birthday photos, thanking our family and best friends for coming to celebrate. We don't share family or best friends. She just went out of her way to find my...
See that? Our family and best friends. Yeah. You know what she was trying to do here. Let's go.
family and friends, messaged them, and inserted herself into every part of my life.
Wow.
I paid for the birthday party, $364, so she didn't need extra money. However, the next day, she demands the child support payment 26 days early. When I say no, she tells me to die and says I'll never see the baby again.
Wow.
The next day, I send her $156, not because I wanted to, or was ordered to by the courts, because I felt like I didn't even have a choice anymore. Then she posted even more birthday photos, this time at dinner with my family, like everything was normal. I guess because I paid her, she was happy. By this point,
she wanted to play happy families. That was her intention. Always her intention. Weasel her way into the family, let everybody know that she's the woman, and by hook or by crook, let the world know via social media that they're happy families, and trying to take this man off the roll. She wanted this man out of commission. She didn't want this man to go anywhere or do anything with any other woman outside of herself. And you see why he doesn't. Let's go.
I was drained financially, emotionally, mentally. She controlled when I could see the baby, how much I paid, what I was allowed to post, and how I lived my life.
Right.
And every time I pushed back, she would punish me for it.
Yeah.
It didn't matter how much I gave, she always wanted more. And I didn't think it could get worse. But then I met Hadley. And for the first time since meeting Maria, I was in a real relationship. An actual one, and it was serious.
Exactly.
Part 6 of Maria's Web of Lies will be up tomorrow.
Now you.
All right, now we're going to move on to tomorrow. Tomorrow is today, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, indeed. I have part 2 of that episode right now. We're going to roll right into it, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, it seems that Mr. Fairley has found another love, true love. Thank goodness. One that he wants to be with for the rest of his life. But someone wasn't very happy about that now, were they? And was going to punish him for even looking in another direction, even though this was just supposed to be a sperm donation. Let's continue. Thank you very much for joining me in Talk Live.
I'm probably going to jail for this. I don't care. I've stayed quiet long enough.
If you missed the first part of this video, it's insane, but you got to go watch part 1. I'll leave a link in the pinned comments and in the description down below.
That?
Basically, this guy met a girl,
let's continue.
$55,000 out of him, and got to stay.
People, they were narcissists too. Specifically, Hadley.
Over, it was a nurse tampered with the test result, and Nurse Hadley lost custody of all her children.
Okay, I want to take a moment to address the people saying I'm a clout chaser for addressing this again. This became an entirely different battle for me when they attacked Hadley. When I originally shared my story to clear my name, Maria, through her cousin...
If you don't know who Hadley is, this is his new girlfriend. who's has a large following on social media. Okay, and she wasn't entirely happy about that. She thought that she could control him, siphon money out of him, and do what she wanted with him, and no one else could have him. That's how vindictive this woman was. But he found true love despite it all. Let's see what she does next.
Came online and spread horrible lies about Hadley. They said that she lost custody of her kids, that she was a felon, and that she tampered with the DNA test. None of those things are true, but so many people believed it. I watched the person I love cry while strangers made videos about her. They review bombed her book without even reading it, and despite all of that, she still stood by me. So yes, I came with a literal binder of receipts, and I'm going through it in order so they can't twist things again. Because it's one thing to hurt me, but it's a whole other thing when you're attacking the person that I love.
Yeah.
Hadley and I met at the gym, and we went on our first date on March 20th, 2024. About a month later, I brought Hadley to lunch with my mom. My mom told us about Maria texting her recently. Maria was saying that I was selfish, that I wasn't allowed to see the baby anymore, and that she didn't want the baby to grow up like me.
Remember that threat? Again, it's come back. Let's go.
Hadley said she can't do that. There's a court order. Because Hadley knew the system, she'd already been through it herself. On June 8th, we spent the day with the baby, Hadley's kids, and some close friends. Played cornhole, we went to a...
Hadley already had kids herself. He must love baby mothers. But true love is true love. Let's go.
birthday party, and even had dinner with friends that night.
By the way, apparently the woman that he's talking about, his new girlfriend, is a doctor on TikTok, and she got like over 1 million followers on TikTok.
Doctor on TikTok. Well. It seems that this man can make all that money back. Well done, sir. God is good. Let's go.
So when he says that like he fell in love with this woman, she's also a TikToker. He's not really a TikToker. He just got on TikTok to share a story. He seems like he's more into real estate. But yeah, the woman that he's with is she has over 1 million followers on TikTok or something like that. So people were coming after her on social media, and you know how people are when they think they understand something and they get real brave.
Let's just take a look at this quickly. Who Hadley is on TikTok? Let's see if we know who this is. Hadley Vlahos, I think that's her name. 1.2 million followers. So this is the lady. This is indeed the lady in question. Hadley Vlahos. Nurse Hadley. There you go. So that is the lady that we are coming to find out about today. Hopefully we can get this up soon. But I will go back to it. Here we go. If that's there, I don't know why it's running so slow. There you go. Nurse Hadley. 2.1 million followers on Instagram. Many followers on TikTok. So that is who we're dealing with here, people. Again, thank you very much for your patience and joining me here. That's the TikTok. Yes, indeed. And let me see if we can scroll down here. There's a... Yes. That is Nurse Hadley that he's talking about. Hadley Vlahos. Hospice nurse and author of New York Times bestseller, The In-Between. So she is a I guess she's a nurse practitioner. Let's say that. Because there are such ladies as nurse practitioners. So I think that is his new girlfriend that is helping him out. So there you go. Nurse Hadley Vlahos, ladies and gentlemen. So that's the girl in question. I thought I'd do a little research here and talk live. So this is the lady that we're speaking on here. All right, so Hadley Vlahos is the new girlfriend. Huge following on TikTok and on Instagram. And, his new love interest, which, Maria Nguyen was not very happy about. Let's go.
Bold because they can say whatever they want without consequences online. You know how that is.
Just a good day. But when Maria found out that the baby and I were at Hadley's house, she lost it. She texted my mom saying I don't get to play house with their daughter. It's an interesting choice of words considering how the story ends. Maria demanded that I call her immediately or she's going to call the police. I had to leave the baby with Hadley and her friend to go to another room so I could calm Maria down. Soon after, I go on a bachelor trip that was planned months in advance.
A baby that's never his and he's still paying for most, if not all, of her child support needs. Oh, but you can't let anybody see that baby, even though it's not yours, and you're paying for it. All these details. Let's continue. All these details. Details.
Events. While I'm gone, Maria jumps on Facebook and has a full-blown meltdown. She says I'm absent from the baby's life and that I skipped town on Father's Day. I had just seen the baby a few days ago and already had a flight booked to be back on Father's Day. But reality doesn't stand a chance when Maria opened social media. Her post was public, no matter how many times she claims it was only friends and family. This little globe icon says otherwise. There's no way it was only her 5,000 close friends and family. Hadley saw it, her family saw it, probably half the state saw it. She called me a deadbeat. She said that I put my dick in anything that walks, and accused me of shoving hot dogs down my throat for Instagram likes.
And Jordan Peterson talks about this too. He says that men tend to lead on the side of physical aggression, while when women are aggressive, they tend to lead on the side of like attacking your character and being passive aggressive. Basically, plausible deniability. So, if you call them out on it, they can go, I don't know what I did. No, I didn't do anything. So basically right now she's just attacking his character and trying to humiliate him in front of his family and friends. And to be honest, he already said that it was a mistake, but if you just out here sleeping with women frivolously at 24, you understand what you're doing. And so this is just the consequence of a bad decision he made when he was 24. Luckily, he's trying to clear his name now, but I mean, you still got to deal with all the circumstances that you put on yourself.
Which honestly is
pretty... Yeah, that is very true. Well said there by poor man. The fact of the matter is he put himself in this situation by sleeping with this woman, by even getting involved with it. He should have walked away from this woman long ago. But he said, all she wants is my sperm. Okay, fine. And he was naive. His naivete has cost him big time, to the tune of $52,000 in child support already paid. Unbelievable, but true. But again, you walked into this eyes open, thinking that this woman didn't want any part of your life, that she was willing to go her own separate ways. All she wanted was your DNA. No, she wanted your life. That's many women. They want your life. What you could provide, how you could support. They want your life. As again, you can see at the family house, this family is not broke. They are well heeled. And they wish that this young man here, Mr. Fairley, could allow for Ms. Nguyen to have a spectacular life herself. But that was never going to happen. Let's go. Let's go.
Funny. But the real kicker, she ends it with, the truth is coming out and I'm not afraid to share it to the public anymore. She's all about freedom of speech until someone else starts talking. Anyways, she doesn't answer my calls or texts on Father's Day, so I don't get to see the baby. I'm not even shocked at this point. On June 20th, we head to the Bahamas for Hadley's brother's wedding. My parents were supposed to keep the baby for the weekend, but at the last moment, Maria asked if she could keep the baby instead. I say, sure, trying to keep the peace. Naturally, 2 seconds later, she's texting my mom. She's saying that I chose my girlfriend over my daughter. And now she's going back to court for full custody.
Yep.
Mom?
Psychology. Yep. Psychological warfare she's using here. Absolutely outstanding. Oh, you chose your girlfriend over me. No, she never chose a girlfriend over you. He's still on the bill for child support. He's still seeing the child regularly. He's trying to be a good dad, even though he's never the dad. Never the dad. But he's the bad guy, right? Let's go.
Calls her out and says exactly what everybody else is thinking. You've micromanaged his every move, he's never bashed you publicly, and you've wished him dead more than once. And she was right. So it's June, and according to the court order, I'm supposed to have the baby for the whole month. But as usual, Maria was picking and choosing what rules apply. June 25th, this is what her family loves to twist. The infamous Lowe's incident. Here's what actually happened. The night before, on the phone, Maria told me that I could pick the baby up from school in the morning. So I did. We ran some errands, grabbed lunch, and then we went to Lowe's. While I'm there, I text her and ask if I can keep the baby overnight. She calls me immediately. Her response, not thanks, not sure. It's, is Hadley with you? I said yes, and instantly she flips.
Wow.
She says that she's coming to Lowe's right now. I was like, no, you're not going to make a scene in Lowe's. I'll just drop Hadley off, and then I'll bring her back to your house like we planned. I hang up, and then I reiterate what I said on the phone through text. I put away my phone while I'm driving. I check my phone when I park at Hadley's house. Apparently...
Please listen up to this. This is how devious and vindictive and nasty this girl can be. Not a pretty sight. This is where the real Dragon Lady comes out. This is her in full form. Let's continue.
Maria's at Lowe's now. I had multiple missed calls from my dad. I call him back, and he tells me that Maria's called him. And apparently, she was running up and down the aisles at Lowe's, screaming that her daughter had been kidnapped.
Oh my God.
Oddly enough, her family doesn't deny this part. They just said that I didn't answer the phone for hours.
Bro, this is what guys have to understand, bro. When you're dealing with women, you have to understand that, like, guys who are stereotypical losers, like what culture will point to as a loser as a guy, they sit in their mom's basement, they play video games, they don't have a job, they never bear any bulk of responsibility in their lives, and that's what society will call a loser. But you got to understand, the female side, they get pushed out of their family's houses because they don't abide by the rules. Because this woman was like, she has no family support, and that's why she needed, if you watch the first part, that's why she needed him to come and see her in the first place, or come when the baby was born in the first place, because she has no family support. Translation to me is, your family, you pushed everybody away that loves you because you're insane. And this is reflected in her behavior now. But the point...
Well, let me give another take on this, ladies and gentlemen, and that is, you're considered a loser. And this is very true. I think Myron puts this, Myron from Fresh and Fit puts this very, very simply and quite well, to be fair. He makes a case for this, is that if you are a woman, and if you're and as a woman being given, being a trust fund baby and given a certain amount of gifts, given $1 million at 18, and you cannot find a man in that time, you're considered a loser. If you cannot secure a man with your feminine wiles, with your beauty, with whatever, if you can't secure a man within that time, you're a loser as well. It should be easy for a woman to get a man. But a high-value man is going to be a little tougher. And since she could not get Mr. Fairley, a high-value man himself, guess what? She is going to use any means to control him. If she can't have him, she will control him. But she did not count on Mr. Fairley having this Hadley Vlahos in his life. And finding new love, and a woman who is indeed well endowed herself in terms of financial wherewithal. She really didn't like that. Because everything, but God works his mysterious ways, his wonders to perform. All the money that he lost from Ms. Nian here, he got back with her. See how God makes it? See how fate provides it? You see that? He never deserved to lose this sort of money. So guess what? God sent someone to give it back to him. And find the true love that he deserved. Well done to him. But a loser for a man is a man who sits in his basement eating Cheetos, not having a job, and is on his parents' teat. That's a loser as a man. A loser as a woman is a woman who cannot procure a man for marriage, if not children, whose name is not on the will or on the mortgage for a man. That's a female loser. So she said she was not going to be a loser because see how she's entering into his life at every single time playing happy families? Because that's what she wanted. That's what she always dreamed of. But she went about it the totally wrong way. And guess what? Somebody had to pay. Let's continue.
Point that I'm trying to make is oftentimes the guys who are losers stay in their mom's basements, while the women who are losers, they just go off into the world, just basically like siphoning off every guy that they meet and just destroying their lives individually.
No. Well, that's true. That's women who are losers indeed. You're absolutely right. But again, those losers are the women who cannot find a man to protect and provide, procreate, and problem solve for them. Those are the female losers. Those are the women. When the women who buy a cat and die alone, those are the female losers. Yeah. Even if you're in Hollywood, you have all these airs and graces about it. You see this all the time. All these women in their 40s and 50s having to do IVF too. Again, female losers. Let's call it out. Ebony K. Williams, female loser. Dr. Bryant, another female loser. There it is. Any woman, as beautiful as these women are, who still cannot find a man for themselves and have to rely on IVF treatment to get something done, those are female losers. You can even say to a certain extent that Halle Berry, but now she's found a man, but she's gorgeous as well. But she's being a female loser because she had to pay child support to 2 different men. They didn't have to work another day in their life. One of the actors, I think it was Mr. Martinez, he stopped acting because he was getting child support. Those are female losers, yeah. But luckily, Halle has such beauty that now she's with Van Hunt now, and she's making out. But those are female losers. The female losers are those who have all the beauty, fit, feminine, friendly, cooperative, submissive women out there. But I don't think they're cooperative, submissive, but they're at least fit, feminine, friendly, and they are superstars. Like Halle Berry is one of the prettiest women ever to walk the face of this earth. Still couldn't find a man for herself. Ebony K. Williams, beautiful lady, still couldn't find a woman for herself. Dr. Bryant, beautiful lady, still couldn't find a woman for herself. Those are the female losers. Women who cannot find men at the end of the day. Let's continue.
Because they can. Because there's always some guy that's willing to take her in or accept her or try to date her. And in this case, she got this guy tied up with this baby. But at the end of the day, this is a female version of a loser.
Yep.
You have nothing else to do with your time but try to use this baby as a weapon against this man. It's insane.
Absolutely correct. She is a female loser, yeah. Absolutely correct. She's a female loser. She's a female loser. There it is. In black and white. Well said. And for all the single ladies out there, I'm sorry, it's true. You had a largesse unto yourself. You were a trust fund baby. You were given $1 million at 18, and you didn't spend it wisely. You are a loser. Let's continue.
The drive from Lowe's to Hadley's house is 17 minutes. I called Maria back and she starts making threats. Hadley tells me to hang up and text her because I need this in writing. That enrages Maria, but we'll get back to that soon. Regardless, I brought her back to know
And do remember, just to pause this, a female loser could be black, could be white, could be Asian, as we see here, could be Indian, could be Hispanic, could be any type of woman under the sun. There are female losers everywhere, but they're not usually talked about. But there are female losers everywhere. We just give them a pass because they're women. Let's continue.
Yeah. On August 5th, Maria lets me see the baby again. A few days later, she comes inside Hadley's house. She meets Hadley's kids. She goes into their bedroom. She even played dolls with one of her daughters for a minute. Then, when she comes back to pick the baby up, all 3 of Hadley's kids are there, standing at the door, waiting by. And this is the same woman that went online and told people that Hadley lost custody of all of her kids. She knew that was a lie. She met the kids and stood in their home. That wasn't confusion, that was strategy. Maria knew that if she could convince people that Hadley was a terrible person, the attention would shift off of her, and the truth wouldn't matter anymore. She wasn't trying to defend herself. She was just trying to take Hadley down because she was helping me. And they hated her for it. They knew she had a platform. They knew that people
online 2.1 million subscribers. That's
that's exactly what I showed you right here. This is Hadley Vlahos. If you didn't see her on Talk Live previously, this is her. That's her. That's her. That's Nurse Hadley. 71 million likes, 2.1 million followers on TikTok. That's Nurse Hadley. She's had a few kids. Wow. Okay. But, again, again, this is where a high value woman can even the odds. She can even the odds, even if she's had kids. Now, if she's a woman of a certain amount of means, a certain amount of importance, a certain amount of status, and is willing to be fit, feminine, friendly, and cooperative and submissive to a man, she can even the odds. She can make a comeback. And let the man be the protector and provider that he can become. Let him be the leader of the family. She can make a comeback. Yes. Usually it's not advised in the red pill to search out for these women. But in this instance, Mr. Hadley found, Mr. Fairley, the gentleman that's speaking tonight, and Nurse Hadley found love, and they're moving forward. And that's something that Ms. Nguyen didn't want to happen in the first place. She didn't want any part of that. She wanted him to live in misery. If she couldn't have him, no one will. That was her modus operandi for all of this. If she couldn't have him, no one will. But God works in mysterious ways, his wonders to perform. Let us continue.
Followers on TikTok. That's a lot.
Cancel large creators. So they made her the target because that was easier than answering for what they had done. On August 10th, I did the first DNA test. That video and the follow-up after will be next. But for now, people have said that Maria only shared stuff privately on her Facebook to family and friends. That's just not true. But even if those posts were private, they weren't. Explain this. Maria and her friends were in Hadley's comment section months before I made a video. They were harassing her and spreading lies, trying to bait her into saying something back. Hadley didn't respond, she just deleted it and moved on. Meanwhile, they're in her comments saying that I was behind on child support and that she moved me to her house after only knowing me for 3 months. For the record,
it was a smear campaign that they engaged in, ladies and gentlemen. They wanted to smear Hadley, and in doing so, break up the relationship. That's what this is about. They wanted to make her look bad, and in making her look bad, she would in turn say, you know what, I can't do this anymore, let's break up, we need to end this. We need to end it. Because I cannot have my reputation being besmirched and smeared with these wrap-up smears literally on an everyday basis by not only the lady Ms. Nguyen, but her friends as well. Her friends and family contributed to this. Just breaking things up. She is a nasty piece of work, ladies and gentlemen. Make no denial about that. She is one hell of a piece of work. That she had to drag this man through the mud simply because she couldn't have him. But hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, right? Let's go.
None of that is true. But they weren't interested in the facts. They were interested in turning the internet against her before I ever said one word. And I sat there with DNA results in my hand, knowing everything they were saying was a lie. Yeah. And that's when it really hit me. This wasn't just about controlling me anymore.
Yep.
This was about making sure no one ever believed me.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if they had to ruin Hadley to do that,
it's like what lawyers do. Like if you got a case of a woman who claims to be essayed or R-worded or sexually assaulted or raped. It ain't on TikTok. We can say it on YouTube. And if you're just not adult enough to understand what I'm saying, I mean, it is what it is. But it's a technique that lawyers will even use in court. If you can't attack the person's their original position, then you attack their character to just try to nullify anything that they say. If you can make the jury not believe anything that the person says, then the story, no matter how valid what they say is, just won't be trusted. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they're just attacking his character so that when he goes to tell his story or his side of the story, nobody will believe him because they've already heard one side, and he seems to be an unbelievable source. That's what they're trying to make it out to.
Well said there by Poor Man Podcast. If you cannot make the man look bad, if you can't make him out to be untruthful, because look at the dossier, he's on the side of truth. Believe me, you're gonna try and besmirch his reputation and throw wrap-up smears around him. We talked about that on Talk Live. So he has the look of someone who is untruthful. And then the court of public opinion or any sort of jury will decide from there. Yeah. Well said there by Poor Man Podcast. So if they couldn't question his validity, they're going to question his character. There it is.
Yeah, that's what they're
I
doing.
didn't care. On October 8th, I finally posted the truth. I shared the DNA results, I told my story, and I kept it factual. And immediately, Maria's cousin Michelle jumped in to have these DMs. She said, "You're the problem. Brett was never this competent until you were in his ear. He never questioned anything before you." And there it was. It was never about the DNA test. It was never about co-parenting. They were just angry because I was not easy to control anymore.
Exactly.
Hadley, he was never...
They were angry that he moved on. They were angry he moved on. They thought that he would be their little puppet from here till she was 25. They thought they could gold dig from him as long as the child became an adult. But he found a way to love. He found a way to live, and they hated that. They absolutely hated that. Well, at least Maria Nguyen hated that. That she couldn't control him anymore, and he found the spirit to fight back. Even though the courts beat him down, even though she beat him down for years. Because we're going into the 4th, 5th year of this. Even though he's not the father. Let's continue.
Never the villain. They just hated that someone finally gave me the strength to stand up for myself.
Yep.
And what really blows my mind is how many creators took their side. Even after Michelle publicly posted that she ever saw Hadley, it was on site. She wasn't even hiding it. She was threatening violence, admitting to lying, and openly trying to destroy her. And instead of calling that out, these creators amplified it. They didn't ask any questions. They didn't look at any of the facts. They just picked up the pitchfork and joined in.
Yeah.
So if
Well, that's what feminists do, don't they? These are feminists, ladies and gentlemen, who are on TikTok, and they took up Maria's charge, not delving into the evidence, not delving into what she did over time, over these 3 or 4 years, which was documented in full. They didn't care about that. All they saw was a guilty woman, and they can get likes, they can get subscriptions for being an advocate for a woman who was a nasty piece of work. She was nasty. But they didn't care, as long as it forwarded the feminist ideal that all men are bad and all men should be punished for their misdeeds or moving on. They didn't care. They did not literally care. They didn't want to do the due diligence. Let's face facts. A lot of women don't do due diligence. They don't. They don't do the research. They don't do. They just go. They act out on emotion, and men are left in the wake to deal with the fallout. They don't deal with, as the Godfather Kevin Samuels once said, they don't deal in facts, data, statistics. They just deal with how they feel, how it makes them feel. Unfortunately.
Yeah, because TikTok is just a man-hating website. It's just a man-hating man-hating platform at this point. That's all people do on TikTok. So automatically, the woman, if she gets on there crying and telling a sob story, everybody's just gonna believe it. But this guy has actual evidence and proof, and this is a good case this man is presenting. This man brought out a whole portfolio and said, if the judge ain't gonna listen to me, hopefully social media will. Even if I gotta go to jail, I'm standing up for myself at this point. And
do remember, its portfolio is a something that shows that's affiliated with the stock market. What he has is a file. This is a file that he has here. A legally binding file of evidence. Facts, data, statistics, quotes, everything. This is evidence. This could be admitted into a family court, especially when it comes to custody. Absolutely can be admitted. He did his homework. He probably has someone in his life who was indeed a lawyer, some sort of counsel, probably enlisted someone who was family counsel, and they said, document everything. Make sure you have times, dates, places, every sort of payment you make, document it, save it, keep it. Order it, have a timeline of events. That's exactly what he did. He operated like a defense lawyer. And God love him for it. Well done, Mr. Farley, for carrying it this far. It's not a portfolio, it's a file. Remember that.
And that's what happens once you start to have a family and you got somebody else you love. You want to protect that person. And once you got to protect somebody else, you'll take it there. Yeah, once it comes to them, you'll take it there.
People who helped them do it. You didn't just get it wrong. You helped abusers keep their power.
Exactly.
I'll be waiting for an apology.
I'm not sure if this is the last segment, but I'm assuming so because he didn't say he was going to make another part. Guys, you got to go check out part 1 of this video if you haven't seen it. This story is absolutely insane. Nothing that I tell you is going to do it justice. This man has the whole portfolio, and he goes through it, showing everything that you need to know about this situation.
All right, so we're going to leave it there, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much to Poor Man's Podcast. Again, it is indeed a file that he has there, but nonetheless, this was an eye-opening timeline of events here, people. This is something that is sincerely diabolical and is a harrowing tale that must be told to most men out there today. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go back to here. We're nearing we just reached over the midnight hour mark. Yes, just over 12:03. So let's just close up shop here. Thank you very much to Poor Man Podcast. He did wonderful work here for highlighting this story. I'm sure it's going to get full traction going forward, ladies and gentlemen. But he did a wonderful job here. And so let's continue. Let's get into it. Thank you very much for joining me in Talk Live, ladies and gentlemen. This story, this is a cautionary tale. That's the word I was trying to find. This is a cautionary tale for all gentlemen out there of ways and means. Because if you're a man who's in his mother's basement, you have no worry of finding women who's going to take advantage of you like this. These are for men who are confident, intelligent, assertive. These are for men who have worked hard, have enjoyed the suck, have reached their 20s, if not 30s, and are enjoying the good life. You will become a target. For some women, you will definitely become a target. Because women don't build, they move in. The majority of them, they move in, ladies and gentlemen. They move in. Remember, 9 out of 10 of the richest women in the world received their largesse through death or inheritance. Death or divorce. In this case, child support. You must protect yourself at all times. I tell my nephews, you have a certain set of natural abilities and attributes. These ladies will see you as a target, especially if you're over 6 feet. You're a target. You're a target then. If you have a certain amount of good looks, you're a target then. If you come from a good family, you're a target then. If you have a good career, you're a target then. You're always a target. You're a moving target. You may not notice it on your back, but you are. And especially if a woman sees you enough and is desperate to have the life you have, you become a target. And this is exactly how they'll do it. See, case in point, Anthony Edwards. Who did he have? He slept with a 38-year-old Instagram model, and now he's left to pay the price. But luckily, he has enough money to say, here's $1 million, get out of it. In this instance, yes, he came for money, but at the end of the day, he didn't need all this aggravation. He didn't need the stress. Luckily, he had Ms. Vlahos come into his life and changed it for the better, even though she did have kids. But the fact of the matter is, she has made a name of herself on TikTok. She is a nurse. Looks like she's a nurse practitioner, and has made his life better. But Maria Nguyen did not want that. She could not handle that. You can see on every now and again, every once or twice a year, she said, oh, let's be a family, let's be together, oh, please. That's exactly what her goal was in the first place. But the naivete of Mr. Farley, unfortunately, led him to a fall, led him to lose $52,000 plus out of his bank account, even though the child wasn't his, because the state wants it that way. They don't want to be on the hook for any money. As she said, she doesn't have anybody, but I think she does have people, but they're not exactly well endowed, to be fair, in terms of financial largesse, in terms of financial wherewithal. So guess what? You're fitting the bill, even though I may have slept with someone else who blew my back out, but yet he wasn't exactly going to be the man for me because he wasn't financially sound as you are. And the fatal mistake he made was signing that birth certificate. God knows, if he didn't sign that, he wouldn't have been up for all this hell. But she planned it so meticulously, so Machiavellian-like, that she led him into a trap. Bringing his mother into it, bringing him involved, saying that he's a dad. Oh, wish we could be happy families. Here, sign this. He signed the birth certificate. Gotcha. Gentlemen, if you don't learn something for anything tonight, learn this. Never sign a birth certificate unless you're truly in love with this woman, you plan for this baby, or you are sure you are the father for this child. If not, always back it up with a DNA test. Always back it up with a DNA test. That's the only way. Even if you have to get IVF, because at least with IVF, you know you're the father. That it is your sperm being used here. Unless that IVF clinic is not doing its job. But even so, always do the background check. The one thing he didn't do that he was so naive not to do was sign that birth certificate. Once you did that, you're on the hook by the state. And the rest is history. But luckily he found love. Lucky he's moving on with his life. Lucky he found the courage to tell his story. Thank you for Mr. Farley for doing so. And I wish him well in his future journey. I will keep you posted on this gentleman and let you know how he gets on with his life. But it is a fantastic story. I'm sure you will hear about it in the days and weeks to come, because I'm sure this will become some sort of local, if not national news going forward. Because this is this is a tale, an enlightening tale. This is a cautionary tale that most men need to hear about. Because if you're a man of means, if you're a man of taste, if you're a man of standards, if you're a man who's confident, intelligent, assertive, and who can earn well for himself and for a future family, you're a target. You are a target. Let that be known. And if you have a certain amount of good looks about you, again, you want to be near the Chad and Tyrone. This is a Chad. What we're dealing with here was a Chad. So women are always going to gravitate to him. He'll always have women around him. And Ms. Nguyen could not deal with that. So she became the dragon lady and cut out any sort, and she became jealous of any sort of potential relationship he may have. Because she knew that she could not have him. Despite all of her consternations, despite all of her promises, despite this being an innocent, this being a innocent sperm bank scenario. Sperm bank idea came to this. But that is something that all men need to realize. That you must, if you are of high value or of near high value, or are a working man of confidence, intelligence, and assertiveness, then you need to protect yourself at all times. Always protect yourself at all times. Because this can indeed happen to you. Thank you very much for joining me here on Talk Talk Live. We'll be back with another show tomorrow night before the weekend. I'm sorry I missed out there, but I got a little busy with work. And so we got one tonight. We're going to get one in tomorrow and then close it off for the weekend. Then we'll get back to regularly scheduled programming as of next week. So thank you very much for joining me here on Talk Talk Live on IG and YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We're going to end it right there. I'll keep you posted on this story because it is fascinating, but it's happening every single day, and more and more times it will happen unless men start to realize that they need to protect themselves and not sign anything that they are not fully engorged in, involved in, willing to do. And of full volition want to do. Because this, indeed, could be you. And thank you very much for joining me here on Talk Live on Instagram. Good night from Toronto. Thank you very much for joining me here on YouTube. This is going to go straight out to YouTube. Hope you enjoy this. Please have a look at Poor Man Podcast video in its entirety. It is a fascinating look at the tales, at the lengths modern women will go to in order to trap men into trapping men and controlling men for their financial and for their psychological ideas. And I wish Mr. Farley well. I hope he has things go well with his new relationship, and I'm praying that God sees fit to give back what he's already given to a lot of these women, especially Miss Yan, who's clearly a nasty piece of work. And I thank you